Welcome into another edition of Wildcat Sports Talk. My name is Adam. That is Tim. And we've got another show lined out for you as we are talking all things Wildcat Sports. You know, we've got so much good news today, Tim. Between our TV and radio and other things that are happening. And now we're looking at a website.
That's right, man. That is right.
WildcatSportsTalk.com is officially live as you are watching this. So it is live as we speak.
That's awesome, man. I'm so excited because, you know, Adam, it takes so much time to get everything where it needs to be. And, you know, we've got a long way to go, but we're making progress, man. And it's exciting. You got a big phone call a couple days ago. And so we got some exciting news there. You mentioned TV. We got our website up now, wildcatsportstalk.com. Going to have a lot more stories up for you guys now that we got that website going. So we're just excited about that, Adam. I mean, it's really good stuff, man.
Yeah, and the big thing is we're just we're just trying to bring an alternative to media for Wildcat Sports, and that's what we're doing, and we're going to bring it on multiple platforms. Tim, we've talked about other things, about creating a whole production company that does a lot. So man, we're just going to be little entrepreneurs here, man, because I personally, and I don't care to say this on the air, all right? I don't care. I'm tired of working for the man.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%, man. And, you know, we were talking about with the experience that we've got to be able to just put it together. And it's time for us to do our own thing, Adam. And this is a whole lot of fun. I mean, it's basically fun at the beginning. But, you know, one thing about this, Adam, and I think a lot of people will agree that we've not been sitting idle. You know, we are constantly improving. And that's not tooting my own horn or bragging on us or whatever, but that's the way we work, man. We want to keep adding things and we want to keep getting better, and we're plugging away at it, man. And we're plugging away and plugging away.
Yeah, I mean, we are doing everything we can to ensure that this show is going to give you the best content wherever you are listening, whether you're listening via iHeart, whether you're listening in other platforms. Doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? We're really just doing what we can do to make it the best that it can be. Speaking of which, the best that he can be, it's Jon Hammons. How you doing, John?
How's it going, Adam?
Hey, man, we're doing great. It's, you know, we love having you on the show, and I hope everything's good with you, man. Real serious. You know, I know you had some issues come up last night. You know, I hope everything's good for you, man.
Everything's fine. Just had to take care of some personal issues. Everything's good.
All right. Well, let's first start and tell the folks about fifth quarter. I know you didn't get a lot of that in last time you were on the show. Tell them about fifth quarter. Tell them about what you've got going on. This is your big thing now.
It started in 2012. John Cooper, which he's my boss, and Jacob Kilpatrick, he's part-time boss, I believe. They created it in 2012 as a hobby. Well, in 2018, it got into media. So it's a fast-growing network. I mean, there's different levels of it. There's Division I. There's Old Dominion. Like I'm guessing is that still Division I? I'm guessing Old Dominion.
Yeah, I believe so.
But
is Old Dominion Division I or Division II, Tim? Do you know?
I'm not sure on that, man.
I believe they're Division I, ain't they?
They might be.
But anyways, there's different levels of it. But mostly what I do, I write an article, usually one per month, which I'm wanting to do a little bit more at it. But I cover the SEC social media account, which I enjoy because I'm a huge SEC fan.
Now you're all about, you know, because the SEC, it just matters more, right? It just means more. I think that's the logo or the. So let me ask you, tell them some of the big names you've had the pleasure of talking to.
Chalkwez Green, Terrence Edwards, played at Georgia, wide receiver. I've got to communicate. Oh, I haven't really talked to him, but I've communicated through Twitter and Facebook. Chris Marler from Saturday Down South. I've had the opportunity to communicate with Chris Doring, played at Florida, the guy that beat us beat us on a last second catch at Florida with Danny Werfel and Steve Spurrier, and I'll never get over that game. Just different ones. I'm not big time yet, but it's a journey, it's a process, and I love every minute of it. And
Hey,
it's a dream of mine. You know what I mean?
hey, Big John, I got to ask you, man. I know you're a Big Blue fan at heart. You're a Kentucky boy just like us, and you love the Wildcats, and that comes first with you. But working a job like Fifth Quarter when you're covering the entire SEC, does that make it a little difficult sometimes? Kind of keeping keeping it together.
It does because you have to take your fan part out of it when you cover a certain team, because you can't be, oh, I love Kentucky, but at the same time you gotta be neutral, and you gotta talk about the other teams as much as you do Kentucky, because they'll think you slide one way to another. It's more or less, you got to be respectful in that terms, because you don't want to get on a bad side, especially me. If I want to be media, I don't want to get on a bad side, say, for instance, Tennessee or Florida, and they not let me into the stadium. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that wouldn't be good.
Yeah,
that wouldn't be good.
That would be a bad day.
It's sort of like if you say something out of the way, it's like, oh, we don't want him. He's a UK fan. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can't.
You got to stay within what you're doing, because
Yeah.
if you don't, you can get on the bad side of some of these media guys.
Yeah, you don't want to be labeled a homer. That's for sure, man.
No, that's for sure, and we've seen enough of them in the media world, and I want to be John. You know what I mean?
That's right. There can only be one Big John. There can only be one Big Jon Hammons.
There's only one. That's right, fellas.
Hey, so I want to ask you this too, and I follow Fifth Quarter SEC, and I noticed. I mean, you've got several thousand followers there, and you had a post recently that went semi-viral. Tell us about that.
Which one are you talking about? The I'm not for sure.
The transfer portal.
Oh no, I'll tell you on that story. Somebody had posted it, and then I posted it, but I had no idea that somebody else posted it. So, and somebody had said I was stealing information, which was completely bogus, because Jon Hammons don't steal stuff, and I just deleted it more or less. So it wasn't a big deal. It was just a misunderstanding.
Oh, I had no idea about any of that. I just saw where you had posted that it was kind of gaining some traction, and I was like, man, that's huge stuff.
I had no idea that anybody had posted it until somebody had posted on their Twitter account. So I just pretty much took it off because I didn't want to take somebody else's work.
Yeah, well, that's
it happens. It happens sometimes,
especially in the media world, because you can have some battles with people.
Well, and far be it for anyone else to suggest that you can have a thought that someone else had at the same time. I mean, John, that can happen, but people, you can't get people to understand that.
No, especially in the media world. You got fans of different teams that can cause problems, and I've had my fair share of all that. But what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to get on the good side of them fans, because we love SEC football. Y'all love Kentucky. I love Kentucky, but at the same time, like I was telling Tim, you got to get on the same side of these other fans and realize, you're talking about the overall SEC. You're just not focusing on one thing.
All right, so let's get down to a couple of things. I want to ask you your thoughts, John, on Olivier Sarr. You work the SEC Fifth Quarter account, so you probably are pretty well connected when it comes to things that are going on around the conference. So Olivier Sarr is trying to get eligibility. Do you see him getting eligibility? And If not, tell me why it is that Johnny Juzang can get it and and Olivier Sarr cannot.
You put me on the spot, Adam. I mean, there's a lot of things that goes into these processes. A lot of them take time, and I feel like Kentucky. They look at Kentucky as a black eye sometimes, and sometimes I pull my punches with it, and you know the whole Jusane thing. I'm happy for Johnny. I think Johnny's going to do good at Gonzaga, but at the same time, this is just my opinion now. I feel like a lot of people don't like Calipari, and because of his situations, with Memphis and past things at UMass. But I feel like Kentucky is one of them spots where, a big time recruit or a big time transfer goes to Kentucky. Let's just keep them out of it. Let's not say this. Let's not do that. I feel like Kentucky is a black eye to college basketball, and in my opinion, it's. I feel like it's wrong because I feel like Calipari's done a wonderful job there. I feel like he's recruited well. He's done amazing since he's been there. He won a championship. And a lot of people don't realize. I hear all the time from fans. They'll say, "Well, Calipari, you know, he ain't been to the big one, or he's done this and that. He's how many Elite Eights, how many Sweet 16s has he had? I mean, winning a national championship is really hard. People
Yep.
don't realize how getting to a tournament, you have to have a lot of luck. I mean, you look at Virginia. What was it last year? Virginia had a lot of luck, especially in the game against Purdue and Tennessee. There was a lot of games there where they had to, luck up and win them games, especially in the Final Four when they played Texas Tech to win it all. I mean, there's certain spots where it takes a lot of luck and a lot of things to happen to win a championship. And Calipari's done a wonderful job there. And I just feel like, I don't think it's so much Sarr getting eligible. I think it's more like, they don't like Kentucky in a kind of a term that way. I mean, don't you agree, Tim? I mean, in a way.
Yeah, you know what? I really do agree with that a lot, Big John, because it seems like if I've always said this before, man, Kentucky is just that kind of program that you either love them or you hate them. So if you're not a Kentucky fan and you love the program, then you probably grew up getting your butt kicked by them, and you probably hate them. And I think that happens a lot. So I think a lot of people don't want to see Kentucky get the 50-50 ball, let's call it. You know how the coaches are always saying, we got to get that 50-50 ball. Well, if there is a 50-50 ball when it comes to these kind of decisions, people don't want to see Kentucky get it, man.
Yeah, they don't want to see them prosper, and I get it. Kentucky's a well-known commodity, especially in college basketball, and especially coming up in football with Stoops. I mean, he's done an unbelievable job with the program. But at the same time, I feel like, if you say, well, if recruit says or transfer says, well, I'm going to go to UK, it's like, oh no, let's sit back and think, well, why are they going to because it's the premier program of college basketball. It's the place you want to be at, and it's a place you want to grow at. And a lot of people don't understand that. And if you're not a fan, you don't understand. You
Hey,
have to
Big
be a
John,
fan to understand the things of Kentucky basketball.
that's exactly right, man. And I got to ask you, I know you've been a fan your whole life, and I know you make a lot of posts about, back in the day when it comes to basketball, but especially football. At what age can you actually remember players, man, from Kentucky and other
Uh,
SEC teams?
I remember Rodney Dent. I mean, we interviewed Rodney Dent when I first
Hmm.
started with Wildcat Sports Talk. I remember Jamal Mashburn. I remember the whole '93 season when we played Michigan. Um, if Jamal Mashburn doesn't foul out, in my opinion, we win that game. They had nobody that could guard Mashburn, and
So on
at
the
the same
football
time,
side, so on the
do what
football
now? Go ahead.
side, on the football side, is it also about around that 93? Is whenever you
It was
start remembering?
93, 94. I was a big fan of Mo Williams. They didn't have really the depth of team that they have now, but at the same time they had some good players. They had Mo Williams, they had Melvin Johnson, played safety. They had Van Hiles, played at cornerback. They had trying to think. There was a quarterback, Antonio Farrell. He was a option type quarterback.
Hey, I'm gonna
remember
put you on the
correctly,
spot.
do what?
I'm gonna
Go
put
ahead.
you. I'm gonna put you on the spot here, Big John, real quick. Just real quick. You got to name one. Since you could remember around that '93 time till now, who is the let's say the best SEC basketball player that had the biggest impact in the SEC, and the best SEC football player since you've been watching?
You mean in the '90s?
No, I mean
Is that
since
what you're
you've
getting
been
at?
watching till today
Jeez, man,
that you've actually
you put me
seen
on the
play.
spot.
Yeah, who's the best? Start with basketball. Who's the best player that's ever played in the SEC that you've watched since early '90s?
Uh, well, let me start with football.
Okay.
I'll go a little route. A team that everybody in the UK hates is Tennessee. I'm gonna go with Peyton Manning.
Okay, that's a good choice. It's a good
He
choice.
he made a big spot at Tennessee. I mean, he was maybe one of the best quarterbacks in that time that never did win a championship. And basketball, geez, I couldn't even tell you, to be honest. I mean,
That's a little tougher, ain't it?
there.
That's a little tougher, ain't it?
I'll have to get back with that one. I'll have to get back to you on it. There's
Okay.
so many that you could choose from. But if I had to pick one player that probably had an impact, it would probably be, I don't know.
Well, I tell you what, John.
You've stumped me.
Well, you think about that, because when we get back from the break here in just a minute, we're going to go over, because you've got a big story coming up about the top 5 UK moments, right?
Yeah, right, yes, sir.
All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about that when we come back from the break. About 3 minutes. You're cool to stick around, right?
Yeah, I'm cool.
Okay. All right. But
I'm cool like the other side of the pillow, brother.
there you go. See, that's what I like to hear, John. That's what I like to hear. But we do have about 2 minutes here, and I got a real quick hitter for you. Okay. And we're gonna dive into this a whole lot more here in just a second. So I want to throw this out here at you. All right. So if we've talked, and you put this out saying that they've kind of had some guidelines saying they're going to make people wear masks to games. And I want you to kind of think on this. Now, I don't want your answer right now. All right. Now, let's say that our governor, who it seems to me like you've been in kind of, supported a lot of the decisions he's made. So it seems to me that if our governor were to come out and say, look, there's not going to be a stitch of sport played in this state at all, would you be in support of that decision? Now, don't answer that, John. Don't answer that, because when we return, we're going to get your answer and your thoughts on that, okay? I want you to think about it before you answer it, all right?
All right.
All right. All right, Tim. Already a great show. We got
we
got Big John. He's going to always give us 110%. You know that as well as I do.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, by the way, John, here's something else for you too, man. Did you know that today, by the way, there's a big birthday being celebrated? Do you know who that is?
Yours.
No. Tubby Smith. Yeah, he was the only UK coach to ever win the SEC tournament and the NCAA tournament in the same year. By the way, that's a fun fact. The only UK coach to win a title in his first season, and the only UK coach to ever erase a 17-point deficit to Duke in the 1998 Elite Eight.
Orlando Tubby Smith.
Orlando Tubby Smith. Gotta love it. Hey, John, stick with us. We'll be right back, and we're going to answer all of those questions and more.
I can't wait to hear from
to Wildcat Sports Talk.
How sweet, where we pretend life's rosy and sweet. I'm going back to the folks that I used to know, where everyone is what they seem to be. And these high-class friends that you like to hang around, when they look my way,
about this? Less than 4 in 10 Americans can name any of the 5 freedoms guaranteed in the First Amendment. Yet, 41% of Americans under 35 think the First Amendment goes too far. Do you know your 5 freedoms guaranteed in the First Amendment? Freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of the press, freedom to peaceably assemble, freedom to petition the government. Think first. Go to thinkfirstamendment.org to learn more.
Aired by the Kentucky Broadcasters Association and this station.
This is Kentucky Agriculture Commissioner Ryan Quarles. The coronavirus outbreak is unlike anything that we have seen or experienced in our lifetime. That's why this station and Feeding Kentucky are uniting against hunger. You can help your local food bank by donating today at feedingky.org. Your generous gift will ensure that families across the Commonwealth have enough food to eat during this crisis. Together, we can make a difference. Consider donating at feedingky.org.
Kentucky's new 5-star school rating system provides parents with an easy way to find out how their children's schools are performing. Star ratings are based on test scores for reading, math, social studies, science, and writing. They are also based on students' academic growth over 1 year. For high schools, ratings are also based on how well students are prepared for college and careers after graduation and the number of students who graduate on time. Visit kyschoolreportcard.com for the latest information on schools in your community.
Wash your hands, stay home, cover your cough. It's our new reality with COVID-19. Physicians and public health professionals are trying to protect us because our healthcare system would be overwhelmed if too many people get seriously ill. We have to take their advice seriously. So, prepare, focus on the essentials. Protect, keep some space from people outside your home. And disinfect, a lot. Get the facts at kycovid19.ky.gov. Prepare, protect, disinfect.
Looking for the perfect food truck for any occasion, whether it be a birthday party, weddings, fundraisers. Listen, they do all kinds of events, and they're called M&S Minis. That's right. They've got 10 plus flavors of cotton candy, caramel popcorn, and food cart catering needs. Just contact Mel today. 606-304-8379. That's M&S Minis / Bam Good Eats. They've got it all. Call them today, 606-304-8379. Hey, Tim, how about you tell them all about Gambrel and Wilder? Well, if he would unmute his microphone. You got to unmute the microphone first, Tim.
Well, I'll tell you this. You can't beat them. I mean, because if you've been in any kind of accident, Adam, they are right there for you, man. Got lots of experience. I mean, they'll go to work for you, man. They're good people. They're big Blue fans, and they're located, man, Lexington, Pineville, London. I mean, they're just conveniently located all up down I-75, and you can't beat those guys, man.
That's right. Check them out online, GambrelWilderLaw.com. Welcome back to Wildcat Sports Talk. John, you know about this song, don't you, John?
I do a little bit.
A little bit?
Let's hear John
what do you know
sing
about this song?
Let's hear John sing a little bit of this.
Come on, John. Give it to him. Here we go.
I do know that I sung this. I sung this in a talent show. It's been 10, 11 years ago.
Okay.
Do you remember it? You remember the words?
That's pretty much all I know. And no, I'm not singing today. I'm going to save my vocal cords.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
You sure? Pour the wine. Come on, John.
I'm
light the fire. Come on, man.
It's my dear.
Oh, you all are something else.
Yeah. So, all right. So, answering my question now. What would you say if Andy decides, you know what, I'm not allowing any kind of sports whatsoever? And I'm hearing on July the 10th, there's going to be a big meeting on KHSAA. And, I mean, from what I understand, it's not looking good. So what are your thoughts on that, John?
If Andy come out and said that there would not be any sports whatsoever, I mean, yeah, I'd be devastated. But at the same time, you know, safety comes first. But in the meantime, I feel like kids need to be kids, and we need to get back to sports as soon as we can, as possibly as we can, with the right methods, you know, with the right tracing and with the right knowing how to use certain protocols. I feel like, if you shut down sports, say 2 to 3 years, and what I'm saying, worst case scenario, you're going to see a lot of programs shut down because a lot of these programs, most of them base a lot of it on football. Like some of it ain't even athletic. Some of it's, not athletic. What I'm trying to say, some of it is not all studying and, academics. Some of it's just plainly football. And you shut down a college for that length of time, and, you're going to see a lot of programs shut down.
Well, I know today, and I don't know, there's another radio show. I'm sure you've heard of it. There was a caller that called in today. Do you know where I'm going with this?
Yeah, KSR. I heard about it this morning.
Said 1 million people. He said, I don't care if 1 million people die as long as we get to have football.
Mm-hmm.
How crazy is that, John?
That's going too far.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's way out there, man. That is.
I agree that there's problems out there, and this virus has caused a lot of issues. But putting death on somebody now, that's going a little bit too extreme, in my opinion.
Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah, let's face it, Adam. Life without football at the end of the day is better than no life.
Oh, for sure. Now, John, we want to do this every week, right? So this is something that we'd like to do, have you on, maybe bring your boss on, maybe bring some other people from Fifth Quarter on. We'd love to hear from all of them. Just to kind of tell them, quick hitters, stuff that's going on around the conference. And I'm cool with that. So let me ask you this, though. You said you've got a story coming up. You're talking about the top 5 moments. Now, you told me earlier that some of your moments may not be the moments that a lot of other people would agree with, and one of them was the Alabama win. Now, I think that's a big moment, but you've said other people don't think that was a big moment. Tell them why that's a big moment for you.
Because that was my first game I ever went to, and it was my first opportunity to watch Kentucky with my dad, and the opportunity of a lifetime to go to Commonwealth Stadium, which at the time was named Commonwealth, and to be a part of history, which we hadn't beat Alabama, in 50-some years, 60 years. And even though that Alabama team wasn't the Alabama of today, it was still Alabama. Like, you beat Alabama, that's a big deal, especially in college football, because Alabama's a rich tradition in college football. Alabama is Kentucky basketball, more or less.
Yeah.
And the opportunity of a lifetime to go down and, upset them, tear the goalpost down, that's a big deal, especially in Kentucky football. That's unprecedented.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think, that's a huge win in that department. John, there's a couple of other things, too, when it comes to this whole COVID-19 thing, and I want to see what you think about this. One of the best and most fun aspects of going to a Kentucky football game is the catwalk. Do you feel like that will be forever changed because of this?
Possibly. Because you're grouping a bunch of people together, especially fans, in a walkway. I feel like that if you have to social distance, you're gonna be limited, especially in that part of the area where they do it, because there's so many factors, especially if you got kids, you got grandparents. I was talking to somebody today, and the landscape of college football is going to change a lot, and Tim can vouch on me with this. You're going to see a lot of folks that used to go, that the older generation, my grandpa's age, you're going to see a lot of folks stay back. They're not going to go to games anymore. And, when I was growing up and up until now, a lot of these older folks are dedicated. And you're going to see a lot of fans. You're going to see a lot of the diehard fans return. But I feel like you're going to see a lot of people not return because of they're scared. They're uneasy. They don't know what's going to happen, especially going forward in the future. But a lot of these older folks, they're the staple of Kentucky football. Like especially, at Rupp Arena, you see a lot of the older folks in the lower arena. Like they're part of our history, and not being able to see them come to our games is going to be, it's going to be a different time. It's going to be a different.
I think you're exactly right.
Going forward.
I think you're exactly right, Big John.
To play the devil's advocate, though, there, John, I mean, not taking it and listen, I get it. There's a place for them, and we've got to have them. They're a big part, and you're right. They're a big part of the staple of what goes on at Kentucky. But the thing is, man, we have we really don't have a crowd at Rupp Arena. It's not loud.
I agree with you.
And part of the reason is because we've got a lot of the old hairs down there.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to ask you something, John. Switch gears just a little bit there, but man, whenever we're looking at high school sports, we lost baseball, softball, a lot of those, and I know, man, you've talked about this a lot of how bad that was for the high school kids, man, losing their senior seasons and stuff, and how they've lost scholarships and everything, opportunities. Man, just talk about, man, not having high school sports again. I mean, if that happens for football, how devastating, man, that's going to be on these kids.
It is devastating. I mean, you got kids that, are looking at opportunities to go to these big colleges and smaller colleges, and, kids are kids. And, at the same time, I feel like, they want to play. But you also got to be wary of the virus. You got to think, about protocols, about safety, how to do things. And another thing I mentioned yesterday to somebody, a lot of these high school games, you could probably social distance because the way some of these stadiums are laid out. I feel like, you could social distance without a big crowd. But at the same time, you got to use safety measures. You got to be particular about certain things, especially when it comes to other people coming in, the away team, and keep them away from the other side. And it's just a big old mess. And like I said, I hate it for the kids. A lot of kids have lost graduation time. They've lost opportunities to spend time with other kids. Friendships are lost. It's just a bad time for everybody, and I really hate it. But at the same time, you got to use safety measures, and
you're
right way.
Yeah, you're right, man. But here's what I want to ask you, though. I mean, let's just be honest, man. I mean, this thing's been crazy from the beginning. We've heard one thing and saw another, then hear another thing, and we don't know what's going on. We don't know how bad things are and how to take them. And the numbers are this way and the numbers are that way. And we've got our leaders telling us what to do and what we should do and what we shouldn't do. Just your take, man. Just your take from everything that you've learned from this virus and what you know about sports. If we had a high school football game start here tonight, man, anywhere down the road here, Bell County, Knox Central, would you recommend people wearing a mask to the stadium, or would you say it ain't that big of a deal?
I would recommend it if he was older. I mean, because if you look at some of the numbers and some of the, statistics, that if you're younger, you're asymptomatic and you can recover quickly. Now, if you're an older person like my father or grandparents or somebody, I mean, and you got underlying issues already, you don't need to take a chance. But
so what you're saying, for the older people, you recommend it for. I was going to say you recommend it for the older people, not like the high school kids.
Yeah,
just the older people.
I mean,
okay.
You're putting a lot of pressure on these kids to wear a mask 8-10 hours a day.
Well, let me ask you this though. Let me ask you this though,
because
I think what a lot of people are concerned about though, John, is, and I'm just trying to figure this out with you. But what if these high school kids go home to their mamaw that came and watched the game and she wore a mask, and the high school kid got it though, and he went home to mamaw and then she took her mask off or whatever. Maybe he got it from somebody at the game. Do you worry about that?
Yeah, you worry about that, but at the same time, like I was telling you earlier, a lot of these kids that are athletic and that, work out a lot, most of them are going to recover quickly. But at the same time, like you said, you got to be careful and you got to use certain protocols and certain, safety measures to make sure that these kids stay safe and that they're not being forced into something that is going to hurt them in the long run.
Okay.
Hey, John. Okay, so one of the things, and I know we're tearing the mask debate apart because it's the only thing that you can talk about right now because it's literally on the forefront of everyone's mind. So forgive me for us bringing this up, but we love to have differing opinions on this show. So, and I told you that earlier. That's what makes these shows so great. So today I read an article that the mayor of Jacksonville has now said anyone not wearing a mask is going to be issued a $150 fine. Let's say Andy came out and said that's going to be the case for everyone in the state of Kentucky. Where do you stand on that? And what do you agree with that?
A fine?
$150.
That's a little out there. That's a little too much, in my opinion. I feel like, if you can wear a mask, fine, but at the same time getting fined for it, that's a little bit out there. I don't much agree with it. I mean, do I recommend you wearing one? Yeah. If you're having problems, underlying issues, like I said, but to be fined is absurd.
Well, okay. Let me argue that with you though for a second, John. I want to argue that with you for just a second, because obviously, in the case of Florida, just people are just ignoring the guidelines. The guidelines are set in place and saying, okay, we recommend you to wear one. Well, okay, if you're not going to wear one, we got to force you to wear one because clearly their cases are out of control. So, in that instance, John, what do you want them to do? I mean, my thing is a fine is really the only option at this point.
Your hands are tied, basically. You're put in a position where if you don't wear a mask, you're fined. If you do wear a mask, you're okay. We're at a different time frame of our society, especially with the way the whole mask thing is. At first it was fine. I was okay with it. Everybody, but you can beat a dead horse into the ground too. And I feel like that's what we've done as a country. We've let a lot of things, get in our heads like, well, what if this changes? What if that changes? Like you told me or Tim told me control what you can control and the rest will work itself out.
Well, I'm going to leave it an amen on that. And we'll let you go on that one, John. Listen, man, we want you on next week. Are you going to try to get your boss on with us?
I'm going to try to get him on next week. And what I was going to do, I was going to tell you my top games, UK games, if that's all right.
All right, quickly, we got about a minute. Just go through them. Which ones are your top?
My tops are the 2007 season when Kentucky upset LSU, the Alabama win in '97, the Louisville game, which Louisville was favored by 36 with Lamar Jackson at Louisville, the Austin McGinnis game-winning game. And then I would have to go with one of my favorites of all time is the bowl win against Clemson in '06. That was one of my favorite. DeMario Ford, he changed the complexion of that game in the first half. He was such a instrumental part of Kentucky football.
And we've had him on this show.
My favorite game of all time, though, is when Austin McGinnis beat Mississippi State.
I was there, man.
Game-winning 50-something yard field goal.
I was there.
That's one of my favorites of all time.
Hey.
Yes, sir.
I was there, John. That was a great game.
Oh, I
was there as well. It was an exciting night.
Hey, John, last question. When you're playing,
we ain't got time for a last question. 30 seconds, man.
I want to watch him play flag football, man. I want to see these touchdowns.
Hey,
is there any videos of you playing flag football, John?
Flag football? No, that's out of my league, brother. I like some physical contact, my man.
I got you, man. Well, listen, thank you. Get on next week, and we'll bring it on for another edition with John. All right?
No doubt. Go Cats.
Go Cats. You're listening to Wildcat Sports Talk. We'll be right back.
From
this misery.
Think about this. Less than 4 in 10 Americans can name any of the 5 freedoms guaranteed in the First Amendment. Yet, 41% of Americans under 35 think the First Amendment goes too far. Do you know your 5 freedoms guaranteed in the First Amendment? Freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of the press, freedom to peaceably assemble, freedom to petition the government. Think first. Go to thinkfirstamendment.org to learn more.
Aired by the Kentucky Broadcasters Association and this station.
This is Kentucky Agriculture Commissioner Ryan Quarles. The coronavirus outbreak is unlike anything that we have seen or experienced in our lifetime. That's why this station and Feeding Kentucky are uniting against hunger. You can help your local food bank by donating today at feedingky.org. Your generous gift will ensure that families across the Commonwealth have enough food to eat during this crisis. Together, we can make a difference. Consider donating at feedingky.org.
Kentucky's new 5-star school rating system provides parents with an easy way to find out how their children's schools are performing. Star ratings are based on test scores for reading, math, social studies, science, and writing. They are also based on students' academic growth over 1 year. For high schools, ratings are also based on how well students are prepared for college and careers after graduation and the number of students who graduate on time. Visit kyschoolreportcard.com for the latest information on schools in your community.
Wash your hands, stay home, cover your cough. It's our new reality with COVID-19. Physicians and public health professionals are trying to protect us because our healthcare system would be overwhelmed if too many people get seriously ill. We have to take their advice seriously. So, prepare, focus on the essentials, protect, keep some space from people outside your home, and disinfect a lot. Get the facts at kycovid19.ky.gov. Prepare, protect, disinfect.
Looking for the perfect food truck for any occasion, whether it be a birthday party, weddings, fundraisers. Listen, they do all kinds of events, and they're called M&S Minis. That's right. They've got 10 plus flavors of cotton candy, caramel popcorn, and food cart catering needs. Just contact Mel today. 606-304-8379. That's M&S Minis / Bam Good Eats. They've got it all. Call them today. 606-304-8379. 379. Hey, Gambrel and Wilder is the place to contact if you've been involved with a accident, work injury, truck accidents. Look, they got you covered, and they're gonna take care of you, right, Tim?
Oh, that's right, man. Best guys around.
That's right. Check them out online at GambrelWilderLaw.com. Welcome back into Wildcat Sports Talk for our final segment. Hope you're having a good night out there. And I'll tell you what, Tim. You know, a lot of what Jon said. Look, I get his side. You know, we gotta have sports. We gotta have sports, right?
Yeah, that's right, man. I mean, it's hard to argue with him, but I'll tell you what, though, man. I think we had a visit there from Modest John, because I wanted him to say something about his flag football days. And last time we talked to him, he was telling us about a 3-touchdown game, Adam, where he threw 3 touchdowns, man, and had
140 yards.
140 yards, and I bring up flag football, and you act like he's never played.
Yeah, we're gonna have to figure that out, John.
I think he's being modest. He's being modest.
He's being modest. He's holding back. Those are some stats.
Dude,
those
did
are
he not tell us
killer stats?
Did he not tell us he was the Joe Montana of flag football?
He did. It was last week, man. We got it.
I know.
Got the show. I know it's there.
And now you don't want to talk about it.
We didn't dream it.
Now you don't want to talk about it like it never happened.
Yeah.
You can't be. Hey, listen. You can't be the Joe Montana of flag football and then not even talk about it.
Exactly. Amen.
Disappointing.
All right. So, listen, as we're wrapping up the show for tonight, Tim, we talked about it very briefly, but Tubby Smith's birthday, man. You know what? Here's the thing about Tubby Smith, and you know me, I'm a big Tubby Smith homer, whatever. Get it out of your system. Look, man, people like you pushed him out, okay?
People like me.
Yeah, you.
I have a
You
lot of
heard me.
respect. I have a lot of respect for
I
Tubby
know,
Smith.
but you and I have had these conversations. I don't care. I'll blast it right out. I don't care. Look, you were mad at the team at that time.
It
We
was
were
time to
upset.
go. It was time
Because
to
the
go.
thing is, though, you don't. But okay, but then look who we got.
Yeah, but that was just a short little segue to
Yeah,
get
but the
to where
grass
we're at
ain't
now.
always greener on the other side.
I
Here's
know,
what we
but
ended up having to do. Not only was the grass not greener on the other side, the grass had to have whole new sod put down after he was done with it.
that's very true. And we've talked to some players that gave us some inside stories during that little Billy G time. And man, oh wow, those guys went through it, didn't they, man?
They did. They did. It was man, it was a crazy time. So Tim, we don't talk about this a whole lot, but let's talk about some future stuff. All right.
Okay. All right.
Brandon Boston, some of these other guys, BJ Boston.
BJ.
No, but Brandon, whatever. What's your thought? I mean, I've watched these videos and I see that he seems like he is a pure shooter. Is Cal going to let him get out and shoot, or is he going to hound him to death on this defense? My thought has always been, Tim, that I think Coach Cal, in the early part of the year, needs to roll the ball out there and say, just out-athleticize every team you play, and we either win or we lose.
Well, I kind of agree with that.
At Camp Cal, teach them defense. That's what I think.
Well, I see what you're saying, but I do wish that we had a little bit better offensive sets to set up 3-pointers. Because I feel like a guy like Boston, who looks like a pure shooter from what we've seen, and a guy like Mr. Bucket that just left us, you know what I mean, that's playing in the NBA now, Tyler Hero. It didn't seem like he got enough shots off. Towards the end of the season, he was getting more shots up, but I wish that our offense would be able to cater to getting a few more open threes for the right guys. Not the wrong guys, the right guys. But that's all about setting up the play. But what I'm afraid of is that he's going to come out and I love Calipari. He's the best coach in college basketball, in my opinion. I wouldn't trade him for anybody, but he loves to teach them to attack the basket, man. Attack it with everything you got. Throw it up in the air, and we'll get the rebound and put it back in if you miss.
Well, the problem with that is that he came in preaching this dribble drive offense. Mm-hmm. Well, now the dribble drive offense should allow for open threes, right? Mm-hmm. Because your idea is to drive it, kick it out, drive it, kick it out. And if you kick it out, generally speaking, you're going to have a guy open on the perimeter.
Exactly.
Okay, why have we not done that? I just don't understand. Because people like Johnny Juzang transfers out. Man, Johnny Juzang was hitting toward the end of the year.
I know. And, I think he might have saw that, Adam. I mean, like, in this offense, there's not enough open threes.
I really wish we would have been able to play a tournament. This really does stink.
I know, because it was just setting up for entertainment, man.
I think this team would have made a huge run. I really do. And I know that sounds crazy, and we can say shoulda, coulda, woulda all the time. But, I mean, I wanted that way.
Man, I wanted to see what Ashton Hagans had after setting out a game.
Yeah, and I mean, we know he had money, but
yeah. But
what kind of skills did he have?
I wanted to see how he'd react to setting out a game. Man, this just popped in my head, and it was a react to a coach type thing. But anyway, I've got to say this, man. I know people have seen it, but if people that are watching this have not seen it, the Harris way, we just had Darius Miller on there, NCAA champion Darius Miller. And, man, when he told the story about getting that dunk because him and Calipari were going at each other in the timeout because he missed a layup, and then he was like, okay. And then he gets the ball, free throw line, one bounce, dunk. And then he said, I had some words for Calipari all the way back down the court. I went back and watched that highlight today, Adam, and you could see him looking towards Calipari and saying something. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. I tell you what, man, it was really cool to think about how many people he's played with. I mean, now he's with Zion Williamson, which we all agree that we don't like Zion, but he is a star, so there is that. He played with Anthony Davis, obviously. I mean, he's played with big names. I mean, well, he was on the team with DeMarcus and all of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Crazy.
Like,
that's what I was
insane.
thinking.
John
Yeah.
Wall, DeMarcus Cousins, Patrick Patterson, who we've had on this show. I mean,
Ramon Harris,
you know,
all of them.
Ramon Harris. Yeah, that guy.
He's played with.
It's insane. It's you know, you sit here and you think about the teams and the guys that he's played with, and I mean, Darius Miller is a stud, man. And the fact that he's guarded LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Carmelo Anthony. I mean, come on. That's insane.
Oh my goodness. When I asked him that wow moment of wow, I've reached the NBA, and he said he was checking in the game, and his coach said, "You've got Bron." Are you kidding me? Like, could you imagine?
Yeah.
Wow.
Check out our website, folks, wildcatsportstalk.com. You can go over there. We'll have some stories up. Now, it is a work in progress, guys, so just bear with us as we get the thing going.
It's a brand new baby.
It's a brand new thing, but we're going to have that up and going. You'll be able to go there, check out stories from Tim and myself, and we may have some other writers as well that contribute to the page. So we're really excited about having that up and going. You can go there and check out the latest episodes. You can check out all the videos. You can check out stuff that you can't generally get just on Facebook. So great spot there. Don't forget to check us out on iHeartRadio. Every time you do, it helps us. Understand. Please go check out our iHeartRadio app. Check out past shows. Go to the ones you've missed. We've got them all labeled there. Players that you may go down and go, wow, I haven't heard of him. You know, Jamel Martinez, to just name one. Henry Thomas. Just off the top of my head, I mean, Reggie Hansen, Shagari Aline. We've just had a couple of players on that you really need to go back and check out their interviews because they were excellent interviews.
Well, yeah, and the thing is, Adam, there was always something magical in every interview we've done. There was always some little thing that a player told us that we were like, wow, that was cool. You know?
Yeah.
So go back. So go back and listen to the ones you missed, guys.
Make sure you do that. If you don't like iHeart, you can do Spotify, iTunes. We're also on YouTube as well as Twitch, Periscope.
Hey, Adam, somebody told me we were going to be TV stars. What do you think about that?
Yeah, so McKee, Kentucky, if you live anywhere near McKee or Leslie County, your local cable access channel, we will be on there. I don't know to what extent just yet, but I did get the call today that they're going to be airing a lot of our episodes. So make sure that you check that out if you are in that area. And for those of you that are watching maybe this episode there, welcome.
What's up?
We'd love to have you.
What's up, guys?
What's up,
McKee?
You can actually call into the show, even though it's not live. We love to have your voicemails, right? So 859-428-8419. The number's at the bottom of your screen. And those of you that are listening on radio in Bardstown or Manchester or any of the other cities that we've added on so many here lately that it's starting to become where we don't remember. We try to shout them out, so bear with us. But you can call in as well, 859-428-8419. You can leave a message on our voicemail, question that you want to ask me or Tim. You can ask Tim what kind of hair dye that he uses for his beard, because we know it's gray. So what kind does he use? The what was it, Midnight? What was it?
Oh, yeah, from the Bad Boys. I don't remember the Midnight something.
Yeah. So Midnight Shadow or something like that. But anyway, whatever you want to ask, we'll try to answer it on the show and play your call. So we want to thank you guys for tuning in tonight and being a part of Wildcat Sports Talk Nation. As we keep this thing rolling, we'll try to break every news thing we can break and be a part of a source for you. We're really trying to expand our reach. We've got other things that we're going to start working on as well that we've talked about, Tim, and we're really just excited about the future of the program. So
yeah, man. Yeah, we're super excited. Going in a good direction, Adam. It's been a rough year, 2020, man. Everybody knows it's been crazy, man. But I tell you what, we picked the worst time in the world to do this, but we wouldn't change anything because we love it, man, and we're passionate about it. So we're just going to keep on doing it, man. We're just going to keep on doing it, have fun with it, and keep it growing. And who knows what it'll be one day, man.
Yeah, I mean, make us stop.
Exactly.
The
Big Blue Nation won't allow that, Adam. They got our backs. Big BBN's got our backs, man.
That's exactly right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in to the show tonight, and make sure that you follow us if you've not done so already. Share the video out with all of your friends and your family. Tell them all about your new favorite Wildcat Sports Talk radio show. All right?
That's right.
Because that's what we are.
Don't forget, we love you guys. We love you. We love you. We love the support. Stick with us. Go Big Blue, man.
Go Big Blue. Have a good night. Peace out.